Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Monday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The speculation around LeBron James will never stop. Plus, a weekend celebrating Kobe Bryant. That's all next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. This one's always going to be free for you, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where over 36,000 subscribers to the channel. Andy, we're all taking in a big weekend for Kobe Bryant, celebrating, of course, his birthday on 8/23, Kobe Day on 8/24. For those of you without a calendar, today's 8/25. And a lot of this news, Andy, possible Kobe Bryant movie, something we will talk about over the course of this episode. Rivalries, which brings up ideas and thoughts of Kobe. But we do want to start here with LeBron James and the never-ending speculation that is basically, I've decided, just going to be a thing that is with us all season. The one, if you thought as a Lakers fan that the what's going to happen with LeBron speculation was, always turned up to a 10 or a 12, Andy, before, now with an actual end to his potential time with the Lakers, it's only going to get bigger.
If we're all being honest about this, it's pretty clear that LeBron wants the speculation. I think he wants people discussing and wondering and trying to figure out what exactly he wants from both the Lakers and the rest of his career. But the latest bit of speculation, I guess, catalyst was a report from Jake Fischer. He works with Mark Stein, part of the Stein Line Substack, great NBA reporter. You all should be subscribing to Mark Stein's Substack. But from this piece, quote, as long as LeBron James's future in Los Angeles remains uncertain, Golden State will undoubtedly be mentioned as a potential James suitor. I'm told the Warriors have called the Lakers on multiple occasions over the last 18 months to see if there's any trade pathway to pairing James with Steph Curry, who roughly a year ago at this time was teaming with LeBron for the United States senior men's national team on its run to a gold medal at the Paris Olympics. After all of the NBA final clashes, James and Curry were said to greatly enjoy their experience as teammates on the international stage, with Golden State's Steve Kerr, of course, serving as their coach. The Warriors, furthermore, are known for their penchant to go big game hunting, starting with their original pursuit of Kevin Durant in the summer of 2016 and carrying through to their February acquisition of Jimmy Butler. I also love, too, even though that this is the formal name of the team, no matter who is on it, the fact that LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant were all part of the U.S. senior men's national team sounds perfect. Even though, again, that's the name of the team. Remember when it was like young LeBron, young Melo, young Wade, Lamar Odom, Bosh. The United States was disappointed, but that was still the senior team, even though those guys were all in their 20s.
It's we don't even be taking swipes, Andy, of people's age, but what we should be telling people actually is that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's around the corner. Visit FanDuel, visit the app today. The FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now. I think there's a very actually better chance, and I've decided a better chance than a lot of people do, that LeBron actually is back in LA next year. I do not think it is a foregone conclusion that this is the last season that LeBron plays with the Lakers. I think he will play another season beyond, and I think there's a chance he's still here, which I'm sure will annoy certain fans. But if he does...
I've described at times the relationship between LeBron and the Lakers, which has been fraught at times with tension. I think we are in one of those tension-filled periods. And also the relationship, I think, between LeBron and the Lakers at times has felt like on both sides it's run its course, but neither really has a better option than the other. It's a lot like that scene in What About Bob, when the family's upset at Richard Dreyfuss's character, the shrink, Dr. Marvin, because he kicked out Bob, Bill Murray's character, who came all the way up to the countryside house while they're on vacation because he's going through his neuroses. And Richard Dreyfuss says, he's not gone. He's never gone. And he opens the door and Bill Murray's standing there. That's kind of LeBron and the Lakers at this point. He's not gone. He's never gone.
It's the thing that people have.
Just like what about Bob?
It's true. The thing LeBron is sailing. He's sailing. The thing about it is, it's like so much depends on what happens this year. If the Lakers are really, play really well and things work well between LeBron and Luka and AR and, Ayton is a good fill-in and they've got all this flex, they've got some more flexibility next year and they can trade more draft picks. Like if you take at face value what LeBron's priorities are, which is playing competitively, I think he wants to be on a team that can realistically say, we have got a chance to be in the conversation. I don't think he needs to be on the favorite. That's really kind of hard to engineer. And that is the Lakers. They're not going to be the favorite, but they can make a credible case. And if this year goes well, he might look at the offseason and go, this is still my best chance to do it. The mechanics of getting
particularly
paid,
if he wants to keep making a salary even
that's where I was
remotely
getting
in
to
the
next.
range that he currently is.
I'm like, I don't know if he can make, I haven't broken down like what the flexibility means and what the Lakers do and how cap holds and this and that. But I do know that he can make a significant amount of money with the Lakers and other teams that he would want to play for may not be able to do that same thing. So if LeBron wants to get paid, maybe not 55 million, but 30, 35, I don't know, pick a number, and be on a good team, the Lakers could very well be. It is not necessarily burning money, Andy, to re-sign.
No, it's not burning money. It's he's so rich. He's lighting cigarettes with burning bills. He can afford to do it. That's
well,
what
he could do that now. Okay,
it's rich people.
Fair enough. We are in a situation though. Then okay, set all of that aside. Where can he go? I don't mean just where can he go money wise. Where can he go legacy wise? Because if you don't think LeBron cares about that sort of thing, you're wrong. And, is he going to go join a team that's fully made and essentially do the thing that Kevin Durant was throttled for when he won his title in Golden State? Does he want to go somewhere where he will be like the guy that adds on to the little stuff at the end? Not that KD didn't do good work in Golden State. That's not my point. But the perception is he joined a finished product and kind of stole a ring. Like, does LeBron want to be the guy?
No. Two rings.
True. Fair. Does LeBron want to be the guy who hops to some super random city that he has no connection to in order to win a ring? I feel like there is a very narrow range of teams that fit all the criteria from both a competitive standpoint, a financial standpoint, a role standpoint, a perception standpoint. And I'm not criticizing him for being thoughtful about any of these things. But when you start to put all of those criteria together, there aren't that many places he can go. I think it's LA, Cleveland, maybe the Knicks, and I don't know, maybe Golden State, but that one's a little dicier to me.
Well, the reasons that you mentioned insofar as the perception, like LeBron would be jumping into Steph Curry's turf. Like there's no question about that. Like if for people who believe LeBron is unhappy because he feels like his situation with the Lakers, he is no longer the center of the universe or the most important prioritized player, then he's got no business going to Golden State because he's never going to dislodge Steph from that status. And I think LeBron's smart enough to realize that. We've discussed multiple times why it's so complicated to trade LeBron, his salary, LeBron's no trade clause. It's essentially a 3-team deal because you have to make 3 teams satisfied. But even if you go through the mechanics of trying to get LeBron to Golden State, like it is essentially either Jimmy Butler for LeBron and Bronny. And by the way, I'm not including Bronny because it's a package deal, father and son, wherever LeBron goes, Bronny goes. I'm including Bronny because you need a little bit of extra money to make it work on the Lakers end. And Bronny is the only salary in that range that the Lakers can trade before December 15th. So I'm not making this a cutesy family thing. It has to be LeBron and Bronny or else the trade won't work. From the Lakers' perspective, moving from LeBron to Jimmy Butler is a downgrade. And I also would be a little bit concerned about taking on Jimmy Butler if this is not where he wants to be. We've seen that doesn't necessarily go well. From there, Jonathan Kuminga in some sort of sign and trade with other people, I don't picture him as a JJ Redick type player. And then like Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, and Draymond Green. It's Draymond, again, another guy that if he's not happy to be where he is, I don't want any part of that.
I'll do you one better here. It's not even just the mechanics of trading. Let's say you get into the offseason next year and LeBron is free to sign where he wants to go. LeBron signs for a mid-level in Golden State. Well, you can answer my question after the break. In the Western Conference, is a team of LeBron, Steph, and Jimmy Butler going to win a Western Conference title?
Talk about that coming up next. Locked On Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches for just 24 hours, and it is coming up really soon. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling for your MVP right now, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're just ready to say who's going to win the Super Bowl before we even have actual regular season football, this is your moment. You can take a flyer on the MVP race. I'm going to say Lamar Jackson. I just think this trophy is going to go back and forth between him and Josh Allen for a while. I think CJ Stroud could be an interesting guy if you're interested in third-year bounce backs. I think this is going to be the year, by the way, that the Bills finally break through and win a Super Bowl. Unless you are of a certain age, you will not understand why that is significant. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
We like Andy to mock like the Clippers because they rely on rickety people like Kawhi Leonard and for a while Kawhi and Paul George and to figure that make this work, and this is gonna be the year so you're gonna go into like your swan song season potentially, your last couple seasons if you're LeBron James, sign with Golden State, and now you're pairing with two guys in their mid to slightly more than mid 30s and going to try to win a title.
Three guys. That. Draymond's there.
I'm sorry, two. Oh, you're right. I forgot about Draymond.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, I mean, they're all still very good, but we're talking about like a basketball equivalent of the Expendables here. Like it is not, that is a dicey way to kind of roll the dice. Now it could be sort of fun, like, and that team would be very intriguing and people would certainly watch, but I am not 100% convinced that becomes, the best avenue for LeBron to go win a title or any better than what he would have in LA. That just is a question of, I'd rather finish. I want to play with Steph before I'm done. And okay, but what are your priorities? It's, I want to play with Steph. But if it's like, I want to make more money or have a better chance to win a title, I don't think that move, I would say, is lateral.
What I think is really interesting too about this is whether or not Golden State is making these inquiries. As Jake Fischer said, over the last 18 months, there have been periodic ones. I assume there have been recent ones. Otherwise, there would be really nothing for Jake Fischer to report. And I think he's too responsible to just stir the pot for the sake of it. So whether or not Golden State is doing this because they are just kicking the tires on any possibility to try to squeeze one more title run out of the Steph era, do the best player in franchise history right before he retires, or because there is a general perception around the league, like a lingering perception, that LeBron really does want to be somewhere else. And in some point in the not very distant future, he's going to ask out. So you might as well start trying to figure out if you can get ahead of it. Maybe he really could be available. So you want to be the team that at least starts making inroads early. Like that's what I find really, because like I said before, the machinations for getting him to Golden State are very, very complicated. And I think from the Lakers' perspective, likely unappealing in terms of a trade.
I think you can remove the likely.
Right. But just the idea of whether or not teams around the league are anticipating at all that LeBron may decide that he wants to leave, and they just, for the teams that think that he would actually okay a trade to them, they're just trying to get ahead of it. That's the part of it that I find really interesting.
What's interesting to me too is that, like, I have in comparing kind of how we're looking at this and approaching like this question of asking out, that I'm not even considering that, because I am looking purely at next off season, because I think unless the season goes in, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to talk about this, but I think unless the season just completely goes into the tank in just ways that nobody wants, he's going to be here all year. If the Lakers are competitive in the ways that we believe that they ought to be and will be, the Lakers aren't going to trade LeBron James, and LeBron's not going to ask out, because there's nowhere he's going to be able to go that it's just not going to work. And so I'm already thinking of that offseason, and not even considering the notion that that he'd be on the move during the year, unless there's just a catastrophe. It was an interesting story, and it really got me thinking about Kobe Bryant, the big Kobe Bryant weekend. Brian Windhorst on Friday, I believe it was, had a really interesting story about this sort of nearly 20-year rivalry between LeBron James and Kevin Durant, where they've been in the league for playing against each other for that much time. And now direct rivalry, can argue that, but
no, I think it's a direct rivalry. They have both beaten each other for titles. It doesn't get much more direct than that.
And and especially it's a rivalry in terms of
they play the same position, they
right?
guard each other.
And that's where I'm going. Like it's a rivalry in terms of like, who do you got, particularly as a scorer? Who's the better scorer, the better player, the more dominant player, this, that, and whatever. And so I think two things about it. We can talk about LeBron versus KD, but what it really got me thinking about was just the nature of NBA rivalries, because so much of LeBron's perception in LA is centered around this sort of didn't quite happen on the court, but definitely was something that happened in the discourse rivalry with Kobe. Nike was trying desperately to get them to have to face each other in a moment that was important, and it never happened. But at the very least, off the court, that King versus Kobe thing was a big deal and had a huge impact on how the Lakers fans viewed LeBron in those years. When you start to think about it, Andy, like Magic and Bird, and they tried Kobe and LeBron. There are these little things, like the league feels different to me now with these sort of player to player rivalries. I'm wondering if I'm missing something. It's like the league scheduled LeBron and Steph for opening night. They scheduled LeBron and KD for Christmas. Like, these are old guy rivalries. And I'm wondering if the nature of the game has changed to the point where, like, who are the new guy rivalries? Is Luka going to be able to have something like that year after
year? He definitely has. Just ask Devin Booker. I think he would say Luka's got some rivalries.
But that's not but you know what I'm saying? But like, that one's not going to be super relevant because the Suns are a train wreck.
Right. But it was building when the Suns
you're right. But that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, the league to me feels like it's getting harder. Like Jokic could, Denver and
Denver and the
OKC
Lakers was
into
becoming
something.
a thing.
Yeah, Denver and the Lakers was, but like now the sort of the cast is turned over. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm legitimately asking because I'm wondering where those things are coming from. They may be there and I'm kind of missing it, but like Luka had started, I think with Dallas to start to develop certain things, but now he's changed to another team. Do those rivalries trends? Where is the next version of these things, especially even, for the Lakers and the teams that they're going to play? It's just something that got me thinking, especially in the context of the, Kobe and LeBron back in the day.
Well, we can talk about more of that coming up next. Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Open Phone. And if you're running a business, every missed call, that is money left on the table. Like, when is the last time you had a service emergency and the first company or person that you called, they didn't answer and you just sat around waiting? You don't do that. You call someone else. That's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications all through an app on your phone or computer. I love that you don't have to carry 2 phones. With Open Phone, you can manage business calls and texts with one app, whether you're at the desk or on the go. There's a shared inbox so your team can jump into any conversation without missing a beat. The AI agent that Open Phone has handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, captures leads, so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering our listeners 20% off their first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonnba. That's openphone.com/lockedonnba. And if you are switching from another phone service, Open Phone will even port your existing numbers at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Some of these rivalries just take time for the younger players to put themselves in a position to actually play for stakes. Like, there's definitely going to be some budding rivalries. I think the way the Thunder are set up with some teams around the league, maybe the Timberwolves, because they've gone back and forth in some big series. I think we are at least setting up to see a really good rivalry between Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. Like, they have really enjoyed and relished going back and forth against each other since the moment they were both in the league. And I actually think maybe even a little bit before that, because they had played for, I don't know if they're like junior Olympic teams or something like that, but they had gone against each other, I know, before they were in the NBA. So that was real. I think Tyrese Halliburton, and it's a shame that he's going to miss a season, but he is somebody that I think has, if nothing else, gotten some teams to dislike him because he is known as one of the, I guess, better modern bleep talkers in the league. If Trae Young were playing for a better team, a more consistently good Hawks team, and maybe
a team anybody gave a bleep about,
right? Maybe that would start to flourish more because he does love being the villain. Luka has made some enemies over the years, but I think a lot of this has to come from players going up against each other for stakes. And to this point, with LeBron, Steph, KD, between 2011 and 2022, there was only one finals, 2021, that did not involve one, two, or all three of those guys. Between 2011 and 2022, other than the 2021 series between the Suns and the Bucks, 1, 2, or 3 of them, all three, the year that the KD Steph Warriors went up against LeBron and those Cavs, 1, 2, or 3 of them were in the finals. That is where true stuff of rivalries begin. And those 3 guys have dominated so much of that space.
That's really what I'm getting.
But it's now been 3 years since any of them have been in the finals. LeBron's 2023 Lakers, the post-Russ trade with D'Lo and Beasley and Vando and that group getting the Western Conference Finals, that's the furthest any of those 3 have been in 3 years.
Right.
So,
and
the runway is at least clearing for some new
The
rivalries.
run here, and I agree with you. And I think that's what I think is interesting is that runway has cleared, because what you're talking about is exactly right. Seemed like you and I grew up in St. Louis. We did not watch a lot of NBA basketball. It was only available on like the CBS game or whatever it was. I think it was CBS that broadcast it. And in my brain, every week was Lakers Celtics. It seemed like the Lakers and Celtics were on every week. And so, and those were like the only two teams I ever remember seeing. And they were also in the finals like all the time. They were always on TV. They were always in the finals. It was the same guy, same cast of characters. Whatever. That kind of carried into the 90s. It is much harder now to have those dynastic teams by design, because the NBA and Adam Silver have worked very, very, very hard to build much more parity into the league. And I'm wondering if one of the casualties...
I'd argue they've worked too hard.
Maybe, but I'm wondering if one of the casualties of that is that runway to build this type of thing. Are the Lakers, now that Luka is a Laker, are we going to have series and stuff like he's obviously going to have a rival with Dallas, like the team, but like these one-on-one matchups that sort of frame how we talk about basketball, because it always has been like a team sport where we talk about individuals. Like we frame things around individuals, even though it is really a team sport. Are we going to get 2 or 3 seasons where it's Luka versus Shea, Luka versus Ant? Luka, we got one, but are we going to get 2 or 3 more? Like that's what I'm kind of wondering. Like, where does the new stuff come from? Like I'm rooting for another series where Jokic and the Thunder play, and might be rooting, if you're rooting for rivalries, you want Jokic to win this one and Denver to come back and knock off the champions next year. And then the year following they meet again. Like you need these sustained runs, and the NBA has made the regular season more interesting for more cities by, with this with this parity, with the play-in, with stuff like that. But it's just made these things hard. I don't know if it's a bad or a good trade-off. That's not even what I'm getting at. I'm just wondering, where do they come from next? Because you do need these young players to play each other. Wemby's never even been in the playoffs, and we're sort of trying to give him one of these rivalries. But as we saw with Kobe versus LeBron, it doesn't work unless they play meaningful games against each other.
Yeah. Kobe said, Kobe was basically a basketball historian, and growing up, he was a massive fan of the Showtime Lakers. His grandfather used to send him video cassettes that he would watch in Italy, keeping up with the Lakers. And obviously that meant he knew everything about Lakers Celtics. He admitted until they played in the finals in 2008, that rivalry didn't really mean a lot to him, other than just knowing the history. But like in his bones, in his blood, it didn't bring anything out in him, because when he entered the league for several years, the Celtics weren't very good. And, the teams that he felt a rivalry with were the Kings and the Blazers and the Spurs and the Suns, actually. Like it took until 2008, and then it came out in a fierce way with 2008, 2010, seasons in between. Like all of that stuff fueled Kobe hard. But he admitted it took until you actually played for stakes, even for somebody like Kobe, who knew basketball history backwards and forwards and is, in the eyes of many people, the ultimate Laker.
Yeah. And I think you can, the finals rivalries are obviously like, those would be great. Like you see the same teams, same stars, whatever you get in 2 out of 3 years or 3 out of 5 or something, some kind of run like that. I understand, like you want to see different teams, but if those teams are good enough and entertaining enough and the stars are cool enough, like that's pretty good theater as well. But like you mentioned, the last 3 teams that have like been in the finals, the Bucks, like they're not getting back there anytime soon. Like I don't see the Bucks getting back. And then it was Boston. They could, assuming guys get back. I mean, like they've got a chance to bounce back pretty quickly and make something of it. Are the Pacers going back to another finals? Not this year, but like
I mean,
maybe
if you
down the
believe,
road,
I think if
maybe.
if you believe in Boston's chances of getting back, you should believe in the Pacers because Tatum and Halliburton are dealing with the same thing.
Sure, I just think that that Boston, at least for the time being, might be able to have a stronger roster. But you're right. I mean, so which of these teams in the Western Conference? Obviously, you have the Thunder, who are poised to have a long run, as long a run as you can get in the modern NBA. Like because they've got the picks and the assets to replenish guys that fill in the rest of the roster as they keep their stars. The
three most important players are locked up.
Right. And then they can just kind of rotate the rest of the guys through. It won't always work as well. Certain guys will go and they'll miss them. They'll be able to pick up other, like but we'll see how well it works, but they're set up as well as anybody. Denver's obviously got Jokic. He's not going anywhere. I'm sorry, 2027 fans. It's just, that's not going to be a thing. Like the Lakers were like, this is one of the things that I love most about the Luka deal is it grants the Lakers an opportunity to kind of get back into this derby where you have this headliner star who can build these like a new generation of rivalries in the Western Conference with a new generation of players. Again, maybe it's Ant, maybe it's someone else. Maybe this year the Lakers get a chance to get some revenge on the Timberwolves and they can take it or not. But that wasn't going to happen with LeBron and AD. There just wasn't enough stability there. There wasn't enough, time left for really either one of those guys. So it's one of the things I'm really excited about, Luka, is this opportunity for the Lakers to kind of get back into a rivalry building stance with other teams and stars around the West.
Well, if that happens, it likely means the Lakers have been making some pretty good playoff runs. So everybody wins along those lines.
We did not get to this Kobe Bryant movie, which is an interesting concept for how the writers and producers and powers that be are going to approach it. So we will potentially get to that this week. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where we can go hang out with over 36,000 subscribers to the channel. Please subscribe via iTunes or Spotify, wherever you like to get your podcast. Make sure you're getting the audio version delivered to you every day as well. See everyone tomorrow.